Well, a very good evening and welcome about Select News. My name is Elijah Manowe and you're watching Select News. This evening we're going to unpack a package for you of information and updates. Just keep it. Ace TV, I'll be together with.
My name is Latifa Hamid and welcome to Select News at 9 once again. We have a lot on board for you, but first let's look at the headlines and we'll be right back.
Tonight in the headlines, clinical trials start Thursday at Mulago National Referral Hospital.
A DNA test confirms a severed head belonged to MASAKA child.
And UCC to license digital platforms, Amnesty International protests.
And in the world of sports, Express FC makes 11th signing.
Tonight in the headlines, clinical trials start Thursday at Mulago National Referral Hospital.
Welcome you back from the headlines. Now diving into the details of tonight's Select News. Moving on to the Ministry of Health has started using convalescent plasma in treating patients of COVID-19. This follows a dramatic rise in the numbers of patients over the past 2 months, putting to waste earlier achievements registered by the ministry.
Launching the treatment, Health Minister Dr. Jane Ruth Acheng said clinical trials start tomorrow at Mulago National Referral Hospital.
We have the details of that report.
According to the Ministry of Health, the treatment is expected to improve the handling of COVID-19 patients. Unveiling the treatment at Makerere University, Health Minister Dr. Ruth Acheng said the rapid spread of the virus in the population had necessitated a shift in treatment regimes.
The convalescent plasma study and to direct the scientists to begin the clinical trials tomorrow for God and my country.
A total of 162 COVID convalescent plasma units have been collected from willing donors. Only 125 units are visible, however, and will be used to treat 65 patients. Each patient requires 2 units of plasma.
We still do not know whether it actually, the convalescent plasma will actually be efficacious in treating COVID-19. So that is the next step. We want to find out if a patient has COVID-19, mild, moderate, severe disease of COVID-19, and they are treated with this convalescent plasma in a dose of 200 mils twice, that comes to 400 mils, do they actually recover from COVID-19?
The plasma is from people who have recovered from COVID-19 and may contain antibodies to fight the disease. The ministry has urged more recovered patients to donate plasma for the clinical trials. According to Dr. Bruce Chilenga, the principal investigator in the use of COVID convalescent plasma has an investigational drug. Upon recovery, people who have suffered from COVID-19 develop antibodies, and it is these antibodies that are being used to treat those who are sick. He said there is evidence that when the plasma is administered to the COVID patient, it blocks the progression of the disease to form severe form.
Science is simple. Now, how does the plasma work? What we are saying is that when you get infection, you make antibodies. And those antibodies, they go and attack the infection and neutralize it. And that's how we heal from these infections. Now, what we are doing is we are getting these antibodies from healed people and give them to this person who have not yet made his own antibodies and neutralize the virus in real time. And where some studies have been done, there is dramatic improvement in symptoms when these antibodies are given. So you neutralize the virus in real time. So that's the science we are trying to do. The other way to make people get antibodies is actually through immunization, vaccination. We introduce a bit of the virus or part of it, so you can make antibodies in your body to keep when you get an infection. So for this, it's just getting ready-made antibodies, put them in this person, so that you can neutralize the virus on their behalf until when they make their own.
Uganda becomes the third African country to use convalescent plasma in the treatment of COVID-19 after Ghana and South Africa. Uganda had registered 5,123 COVID patients by the press time. Dr. Jane Ruthacheng challenged Ugandans to observe the standard operating procedures on COVID prevention as scientists are trying their best to find a lasting solution.
COVID-19 has no treatment. What is given currently is supportive. So having convalescent plasma come on board is great, and we are looking forward to it being started tomorrow. Can you start the clinical trial tomorrow?
Sarah Nakandi, STV Select News.
Well, we're coming back from that report. Now, that word is convalescent plasma, just to rectify that pronunciation. Now, moving on from that positive report, on a sad note that is following up on a developing story, the Uganda police this morning revealed DNA test results linked to the severed head of a toddler delivered to Parliament by a 22-year-old man to a headless body earlier found in MASAKA.
We all remember that Parliament police earlier this week intercepted one Joseph Nuwashaba as he attempted to deliver the head to the Speaker of Parliament, Rebecca Kadaga.
Joseph Nuwashaba unsuccessfully attempted to gain entrance to Parliament on Monday, claiming he was delivering a gift to Speaker Rebecca Kadaga. Upon inspection, the gift box was found to contain the severed head of a child. He was subsequently arrested and detained at CID.
He was arrested at the main entrance of the Parliament of the Republic of Uganda, dressed in a female dress.
Addressing the media at the Government Media Center in Kampala, CID spokesperson Tumwine Charles said DNA test results proved the severed head belonged to 5-year-old Faith Chamagero, a daughter to Pastor Charles Senyonga of Chamliwa in MASAKA City. The parents had also identified the head as that of Chamagero, and police has handed it over to them for burial.
Preliminary findings indicate that this man had attempted to access the Parliament as early as 6 a.m. But he was repulsed by the security because they suspected that he had no any justification to enter at that time. He came back at around 10 and attempted to use a different entrance, which unfortunately the entrance had been prohibited from members of public to access the Parliament.
Nuwashaba was known to his victim, having worked at the family's farm for some time. The crime alarmed the nation, with many members of the public calling for stricter laws to protect children. The Speaker has not commented on the incident. She told MPs on Tuesday that she was waiting for the outcome of police investigations. The police plans to take Nuwashaba for a checkup to determine his mental status.
Indicated that he had got the head from MASAKA. He had also revealed to us on whose head that one was. So we knew now we are closing on identifying the two body parts. At the time, post-mortem had been carried out on the torso in MASAKA, and the body had been given to the parents for burial in Lyantonde. But when the information came that the head had been got from Kampala, we made efforts to stop the burial that was scheduled to take place in Lyantonde.
Investigations are centering on whether Nuwashaba was working with several other accomplices. Husna Afet, Edith Nabagereka, Select News.
On air. City Lord Mayor Erias Lukwago has today launched his bid to vie for the same seat come 2021.
He will be competing against NUP's Joseph Mayanja or Latif Sebagala, depending on NUP's final decision.
It is Navagereka has a detail to that report.
Elias Lukwago, the Kampala City incumbent mayor, has today launched his manifesto and a bid to take back the mayoral position that he has held for 2 terms. While addressing journalists and his supporters alike, Lukwago shared his plan for the new term. He warned politicians who have maliced him to be mindful of their own failures. He also scoffed at those who think they will oust him. Lukwago finally applauded and thanked his supporters who have attended the launch in massive numbers.
Nali nga ntubidde sina capital sa kati singa natandise okubayimiriza wano naye mmanyi buli eyazze wano yazze amanyi nti omulodi alina bwakutte ku bulamu bwe ekyo kyekitiibwa kyange okwo bwessanyu lyange nze saagala kusitula baalubatu bwe bati buweereza bwange mu buweereza bwange abantu bangi abaganyodde muntu oyo zange abantu bangi bempadde inspiration. I've inspired so many people. I've touched so many lives. I have helped quite a number of vulnerable communities and people. So many. Era njagala okukibagamba kino abuuza Lukwago ayambye bameka njagala Museveni akkiriza olunaku lumu.
Idi Nabagirika, STV Select News.
Now, Uganda People's Congress, UPC, has cancelled upon its flag bearers. Uganda People's Congress, UPC, has called upon its flag bearers to prepare for primaries following the party's confirmation of nomination dates.
Now, the party has made it clear that they will use the secret ballot way of voting in order to avoid the issues and irregularities that were witnessed in the NRM primaries that were concluded recently.
Shamira Nagawa has the details of that story.
Uganda People's Congress, based at the party headquarters, Uganda House, has called upon the different stakeholders in the party primaries to pick nomination forms.
The nominations, the confirmation of the nomination dates of candidates for local government elections by the Independent Electoral Commission, beginning on the 21st of September to the 1st of October 2020, Uganda People's Congress calls upon all party flag bearers to get ready for this exercise.
UPC says it has already identified its flag bearers on the positions of parish councillors, LC3 chairpersons,
LC3 chairpersons, municipality mayors, division mayors, municipality or division councillors, city mayors, district chairpersons, and city district councillors, and the party is therefore ready for the local government nominations due this. All party flag bearers to pick nomination forms for the respective positions. Fill them appropriately, take them to the district for endorsement as the party flag bearers, and return them within the given time frame back to the Independent Electoral Commission offices for nominations as candidates in the general elections.
The party says nomination for members of parliament were closed, unlike other pending party primaries slated for 26th September to 1st October.
The party nominations for members of parliament have already been closed on the 11th of September 2020.
The party further added their condolences to the Parliament of Uganda and family of the late Honorable Faith Alupo, former district member of parliament for Palisa.
On a sad note, Uganda People's Congress would like to extend its heartfelt condolences to the Parliament of Uganda and the family of the late Honorable Faith Alupo.
Shamira Nagawa, STV Select News.
Well, thank you, Shamira Nagawa, for that report. Now, we'll go for a break, and when we come back, we'll be having a conversation on employment terminal benefits. Let's take that break.
NRM Electoral Commission to dispose 373 petitions challenging recently concluded primaries. The Rest 2021, ready to bring to you every detail. Welcoming Honorable Tinkansimire Barnabas, MP Buyanga West, Honorable Jebi Barikudembe, legal expert and former legislator, and Honorable Chemaswet Abidi Fahil Kios, aspirant Soy Conchis. Tune in with Timothy Sibathi this Thursday, 17th September.
Hey guys, you're watching STV. Select for fun.
Abalamuzi babagamba, if the incumbent president frustrates all democratic means to leave power, temusibayo muntu n'omu kutwiza. This is why Besigye is released. Museveni ekibi kyalina talina mawulire. Nawandika n'ekitabo kyange, the role of which could have been in malicious society. Sapule enjijjamu.
Noyingira sabo.
Katonda wa bujja. Nze Katonda w'obujja. Bw'oba olaga eri, sapule togitwala. Omusajja omubbi bamujja ewuwe ewaka kabanga lyezi ne bamujja ewuwe ewaka yabadde mu ttooyi naye tebamukkiriza na tusanitize bamutadde buteesi mu piikaavu ba mu state house naye omukyayina bwe yawulidde nti ono bamukutte yeesize kiwi yayitidde kongo yadduse ng'omuddugavu.
Hey guys, you're watching STV. Select for fun.
To watching Select News. Now this evening we're joined by a consultant on employment terminal benefit and an expert at that on retirement benefits. We're going to be casting an eye on employment benefits and the very recent cases that are emerging indicating that URA's case, the one case that the Supreme Court did yesterday, in a landmark ruling, ordered the Uganda Revenue Authority can tax retrenchment to the terminal benefit. Now, the case had been brought against the tax body by Siraj Hassan Kajura on behalf of 160 other former employees of the Default Dairy Corporation Limited. Now, we are joined by a gentleman who is going to be casting an eye on these various issues to see how best employment benefits can be protected to ensure that all employees actually do benefit from the various contracts that they do engage themselves into. Mr. Musa Sebufu, a consultant and expert on that, very welcome to Select News this evening. The first question would be, what are the implications of this particular case that the Supreme Court rather did draw a conclusion on? What are the implications? And if you can also help us analyze for a better understanding of our views, what does it mean for the various employees?
Thank you very much. First of all, there is usually confusion about what terminal benefits are for the majority of employees who are entitled to them. Sometimes it is referred to as gratuity, other times it is referred to as pension, then other times they are real terminal benefits. And of course, the common word for terminal benefits is if you are retrenched from your employment for reasons beyond your means, probably the employer has got financial issues, and then you are terminated, then that's what we usually call terminal benefits.
Mr. Sebufu, what's the difference between retrenchment and termination?
Okay, termination is basically, there are various definitions, but I will concentrate on the definition where you are contract with your employer is ended without your willingness. Probably you are either sick or the employer has ended your employment.
Well, from my understanding, you are well versed with these various benefits.
Yeah.
And I don't know what your legal background is, but are these benefits enshrined in each contract? Are they usually enshrined in the contracts of employment?
Exactly. The HR manuals usually spell out the benefits. I'll give you an example. There are benefits where they say if you serve for 10 years within an employment, you'll get 5 times your salary when you are exiting the employer's role. So they are usually in HR contracts, but of course we usually read, as employees, we usually read those contracts when we are signing, when you are entering the employment. And then we usually forget about them, apart from the NSSF where you contribute per month, so you pick interest because they are deducting something from your account. But terminal benefits usually are discussed at the time when someone is exiting, and some of the information comes out at that stage.
Mr. Sabufo, let's examine this particular case that has put the tax body, Uganda Revenue Authority, into a spotlight. And what could it have meant had Uganda Revenue Authority lost this case against the complainant?
Well, I'm not a tax expert, but I will comment as a retirement benefits expert. What it means, this ruling means that if it had lost, then it means URA had to refund all the monies that they had collected in that form. The reverse is true. Now that it has won the case, it means that those who have not been paying those taxes and probably terminated employees and paid out their lump sums, then they need to audit their processes and pay the taxes that they did pay. Otherwise, when URA comes in, then they will have to audit and they will have to get penalties for not paying those taxes.
But is it right for these benefits to actually be taxed? Because one might feel like these benefits should be perhaps excused and exempted from being taxed. At the end of the day, you were taxed while you were an employee. Why then be taxed when your contract has been terminated?
Okay, there are 2 versions, and that's why you see the rulings, the court ruling at different stages. At one stage, it ruled in favor of the employees. At another stage, it ruled in favor of URA. Because in various countries, various tax policies have different applicable laws, depending on the jurisdiction. Now, professionally, of course, we have to pay taxes. And the terminal benefits is a form of income that you receive as an employee that comes as a result of your employment. And it is a requirement that whatever you earn from your employer, you pay taxes. So since you did not pay any tax for those benefits during your employment, then when you are exiting, you have to pay. Yeah.
Absolutely. Now, give us the dynamics of raising your complaints, or in case you think your terminal benefits have been infringed on one way being violated, what is the procedure of raising your complaint in the legal processes of ensuring that you can actually safeguard, and if any, in any cases, you feel like you've been violated, reclaim back your benefits? What is the procedure that is standardly observed in that order?
Of course, I will not answer that like a legal expert. I am a retirement benefits or terminal benefits expert. But I would say that from our perspective as a profession, once your entitlements are not provided fully, then you have to follow the labor laws. There is a labor officer at each and every, I think, sub-county or district.
Very true.
So that's where you can address your complaints.
Musa, now in a broader perspective as we conclude, do you think various corporate organizations in Uganda adhere to terminal benefits and retirement benefits in general, but also look at NSSF? Not many corporate organizations do subscribe to it. What does this mean to the corporate organizations and corporate businesses in the country?
Okay, what I can say before I answer it fully is, in the past, the terminal benefits were popular. That an employer will just promise a multiple of your salary to be paid out on your exit. But as the time evolved, then there are schemes, there are what we call the provident funds that evolved. where you as an employee, you contribute a small percentage, and your employer also contribute that a certain percentage. And that's what has been, that's a trend that's coming now. Absolutely. And the reason is, one is the tax implication of terminal benefits, because of course the URA was bringing closer eye on the terminal benefits. That's why we have moved away from, most of the employers are moving away from terminal benefits as they are defined to provident funds, where the tax policy is a bit lenient.
Yeah, so you feel it's a bit lenient. Well, thank you very much, Mr. Musa Sebufu, a consultant and an expert at that on matters employment, terminal benefits and retirement. We do appreciate your presence here on Ace TV and Select News. We do urge your views, just keep it Select News as we come to this particular conclusion of this particular chat on employment terminal benefits. Keep it Ace TV and Select News. We'll continue shortly afterwards. We shall go for a short break and come back with more.
Hey guys, you're watching STV. Select for fun.
NRM Electoral Commission to dispose 373 petitions challenging recently concluded primaries. The Rest 2021, ready to bring to you every detail. Welcoming Honorable Tinkansimire Barnabas, MP Buyanga West, Honorable Jebi Balikudembe, legal expert and former legislator, and Honorable Chemaswet Abidi Fahil Kios, aspirant Soy Contest. Tune in with Timothy Sibathi this Thursday, 17th September.
Hey guys, you're watching STV. Select for fun.
For that interview. Now moving forward from that story, the Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative, a global standard for the good governance of oil, gas and mineral resources, has today met with a number of stakeholders in a bid to address key governance issues in the extractive sectors.
Now held in Kampala, the event was aimed at assessing the three-year relationship between Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative and Uganda.
The Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative has today at Imperial Royal Hotel launched their strategic plan for Uganda as the country prepares to launch the 1.3 billion oil pipeline project.
We are not a young country in terms of mining. We have mined, Kinobe Mines has been there for years. Only that the mining slowed down. But what this means is that we are going to ask ourselves, how much potential do we have as a country in terms of mining? The Ministry of Energy has done studies, and they know that. So we're going to assess who are our investors, why do we have the kind of investors that we have, and how can we get better investors.
In 2018, Uganda had made a commitment to joining ET, but the project signing took longer than should have, but was finally signed in 2019.
Also noticed that our president went and met the president of the United Republic of Tanzania, where they agreed on the regime, the fiscal regime for the crude oil pipeline from Hoima to Tanga. So there had been those issues which have all been resolved, at least on the Ugandan side. We are just waiting for the Tanzanian side also to complete their part, and then the final investment decision will certainly be made. So we are expecting that by the end of this year, that decision will be made.
During discussions, there was consensus with the benefits that this deal could present the country.
How have you utilized these revenues that we have gotten from from these natural resources that we have actually given out to these companies. So in a way, it gives us an opportunity for citizens to participate, especially civil society, the women, the youth, and others, so that then they know how they are going to benefit from their extractives, from the extractive sector.
They, however, call for transparency and accountability if this relationship between ET and Uganda is to last.
Then this should be able to enable citizens get more, ask for transparency, and then, of course, that transparency that is going to be ushered in by EITI will then lead to improved accountability. So because, as you know, it's just simple. You publish what you pay, and then you also publish what you earn.
Husna Afet, Ramla Katumba, Select News.
Ugandan airlines have finally been allowed to land in Tanzania, bringing an end to the airspace feud between the two countries.
This is after the Tanzanian Civil Aviation Authority announced that it had lifted the suspension that it had hit Kenyan Airlines with.
In a statement, Tanzania Civil Aviation Authority Director General Hamza Johari said that the authority was acting on a reciprocal basis after its Kenya counterpart, the Kenya Civil Aviation Authority, included Tanzania on a revised list of countries exempted from a 14-day mandatory quarantine upon arrival. Hamza Johari said Tanzania had lifted its suspension on all Kenyan operators, namely Kenya Airways Fly 540 Limited and Air Kenya Express Limited. Johari said Kenyan carriers can resume all flights immediately. Last month, Tanzania nullified its approval for Kenya Airways to land in the country with effect from the 1st August 2020 after Kenya excluded it from a list of about 111 countries whose passengers are allowed to enter the territory without being quarantined for 14 days. A few days later, Tanzania banned 3 more Kenyan carriers, namely Air Kenya Express, Fly 540 and Safari Link Aviation from flying into the country as it piled pressure on Kenya to ease its COVID-19 travel restrictions. The tit-for-tat between two countries was precipitated by different approaches that they have taken to tackle the COVID-19 pandemic. While Kenya has ranked Tanzania on its red list, the latter has always maintained that it is COVID-19 free. With Tanzania on the list, it now means that nationals of East African community can travel freely to Kenya.
Now, welcome back from that report. Now, Bank of Uganda has listed 7 banks to compete at its treasury bonds and bills auction designed to improve the primary dealership system.
Now, these primary dealer banks will make bids above 200 million Ugandan shillings at each auction and then resell the bond to other investors in the secondary market.
We take a look.
To enhance liquidity in the secondary market, effective October 1st, 2020, competitive bidding in the primary market for government securities shall be limited to only primary dealer banks, said the Governor, Bank of Uganda. Experts say the move will improve attractiveness of Uganda's treasuries to investors at home and overseas. These investors include non-primary dealer commercial banks, firms, overseas buyers, and ordinary Ugandans that are looking to enjoy interest payments from government and to use treasuries as collateral. The Governor said these changes are aimed at improving the buying and selling of government treasuries. He pointed that in the financial year 2019-2020, the turnover in the secondary market was 41% on the total outstanding stock of government securities. Genesis Namalu, Select News.
Well, I welcome you back from that report. Now, we do continue in the world of business, talking women empowerment. In a bid to embrace and emancipate women, High People has undertaken a capacity building exercise involving taking women through technology application to acquire them with skills that will benefit them, especially during this period as the global economy recovers from a global crisis.
Now, this conference took place in Kamocha, Kanyonja House, and the developer Simon pledged the program will help bring women at the forefront of economic development.
Now, Maria Diana Namiro has the details to that story.
There are two aspects. I will honestly tell you that I agree with one aspect. If you're talking about registering a business, an online media business, like the Spy Uganda, like Business Focus, I am a president for online media. Actually, I've been asking my members to register.
Well, that story particularly that we did run was a story on UCC's new directives and guidelines on social media usage. Now, I will go straight to that story before we move on to women emancipation. Now, Amnesty International yesterday protested the government's directives requiring online platforms to seek authorization and license from the Uganda Communications Commission, UCC.
Now, the notice was issued on Monday, September 7th by UCC and clearly indicates that all digital platforms of any kind will require this form of authorization.
Now, Genesis Namayo was earlier in a conversation on the same matter.
Well, there are two aspects. I will honestly tell you that I agree with one aspect. If you're talking about registering a business, an online media business, like the Spy Uganda, like Business Focus, I am a president for online media. Actually, I've been asking my members to register. That's okay. But the other aspect that I want to contain is the aspect of asking private social media accounts to register with UCC. Now, I will give you an example. Dr. Besije has businesses that are registered with URSB and so on. When you tell Dr. Besije to come and register his personal account, Twitter and Facebook, yet he's using that account to communicate. That's his freedom of speech. Yes. Now, what you're doing is you are gagging him. Yes. You are gagging him. They want to use the aspect of regulating business, yes, and the media communication to take it straight to now gagging my personal freedom to express myself. You see, I have my freedom to express myself. When I express myself in a way that I offend the other person, that's when UCC comes in now to say, this particular aspect of your communication is wrong, and you can penalize me on that particular aspect. And in that, even there is police will come to say, you have abused the other person, or you have infringed on the other person's right. There you come in. Police can come in, UCC can come in because they are the regulators of the communication. But you cannot ask me to come and register my personal hand account. First of all, those inventions are not for Uganda. There is, for instance, Facebook is owned by somebody called Zuckerberg, isn't it? Has Zuckerberg asked me to register to get authorization from him? No. What he asked for were my details and where I come from and what not. I did it. He accepted them. He authorized me to use his application. Now, you, UCC, you have no business over Zuckerberg's business. This is his business.
Well, that conversation is very critical in a digital era that we are, where everyone has turned into a journalist. If you're not a professional journalist, you can still go online, use your social media platforms, and practice journalism anyway. Well, we shall go for a short break and we shall come back with what's happening in the world of sports.
Watching STV, select for fun.
NRM Electoral Commission to dispose 373 petitions challenging recently concluded primaries. The rest 2021, ready to bring to you every detail. Welcoming Honorable Tinkansimire Barnabas, MP Buyanga West. Honorable Jebi Barikutembe, legal expert and former legislator, and Honorable Chemaswet Abidi Vahil Kios, aspirant Soy Contis. Tune in with Timothy Sibathi this Thursday, 17th September.
Abalamuzi babagamba, if the incumbent president frustrates all democratic means to leave power, temusibayo muntu n'omukutwiza. This is why Besigye is released. Museveni ekibi kyalina talina mawulire. Nawandika n'ekitabo kyange, the role of which could have been a malicious society. Sapule njijjamu.
Noyingire sabo.
Katonda wa bujja. Nze Katonda w'obujja. Bw'oba olaga eri, sapule twekitwala. Omusajja omubbi bamujja ewuwe ewaka kabanga lyezi. Ne bamujja ewuwe ewaka yabadde mu ttooyi. Naye tebamukkiriza na tusanitize. Bamutadde buteesi mu piikaavu pa mu State House. Naye omukyayina bwe yawulidde nti ono bamukutte yeesize kiwi yayitiddeko yadduse ng'omuddugavu.
Hey guys, you're watching STV. Select for fun.
Back from that break. Now going into our sports section of this news, Alexandra Povetkin and Dillian White's rematch will be going on, but the Boxing Federation has set the rematch and round 2 of the match on 21st of November 2020. And according to box promoter Eddie Han, the match is already set. Let's look at that story.
The International Boxing Council has set the heavyweight boxing rematch of Alexander Povetkin of Russia and Britain's Dillian White on the 21st of November 2020.
4 years they were together, but a new team and on with business.
This comes after the first match, which occurred on the 22nd of August 2020 for the vacant WBC heavyweight title. During the match, Dillian White dominated Povetkin, knocking him out twice, but he was in the end knocked out heavily by Povetkin in round 5 to win the heavyweight title.
And we wondered how much was left with Alexander Povetkin after the close fight with Michael.
According to boxing promoter Eddie Han from Britain, he noted that this is a must-win for Dillian White after being cleared to box again, after being suspected of having a concussion and brain damage to the head. He also said the match will go on with or without fans, and the venue is yet to be decided.
Arena, 2 places we're looking at, obviously subject to fans are returning, is where we will be staging the event. With or without fans, that takes place November 21st.
It should be noted that currently heavyweight boxing is back to its best and glory days, with boxers such as Anthony Joshua, Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder, Sasha Povetkin, Kubrat Pulev and Dillian White, all competing for the 4 heavyweight titles in the world, such as WBC, WBO, IBO, and IBF. This comes about as the world awaits round 3 of Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder, and round 1 of an all-English affair between Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury. Reporting for Select News, Saikasin Sekarara.
And when Alexander Povetkin had lost every single round, he beat down.
Well, I welcome you back from that report, sports story that you just watched there. I was of boxing. I was very impressed when Letitia read sports, particularly a boxing story at that.
I'm good.
Who's your favorite boxer?
I'm good that way. Tyson. Tyson has been one of the best. Literally,
Tyson
when I
is
tell you,
legendary. Let's look at the current.
Elijah,
one.
when I tell you Tyson, I'm trying to look smart. I don't watch boxing.
Oh, you don't watch boxing?
I don't find
But then you read
anything.
boxing.
I don't find anything interesting in boxing.
Well,
Forgive my choice.
After we get off air, I'll introduce you to my base boxer. Let's Money Mayweather.
Well, I'll stick to soaps like any other woman out there is doing.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much for keeping it Select News. It's been us from the entire team behind the scenes, me and Latifa. It is a very good night to you all, and always keep it Ace TV. Catch you again tomorrow on Select News. Stay informed and stay safe.
Hey guys, you're watching STV Select for Fun.